The Antlion ModMic Wireless has been around for quite some time, but is it still worth the price of admission all these years later? When it first came out, it was regarded as one of, if not the best-sounding wireless microphone, and in my extensive testing, I found that to be actually pretty true. Pretty spot on. Full transparency, I did receive this mic for free, don't be jealous, but I will be giving you my full unbiased review, and if any companies ever have any problems with that, make better stuff, I don't know. I'll be going over everything you get in the box, basic setup and tips, and an extensive quality analysis. Starting at the top, the box itself came sealed with holographic reflective tape that made me smile, and it felt borderline sacrilegious to tear them open. Inside the box, you'll find another box, the gift that keeps on giving. I'm a sucker for a quality carrying case, and this one feels nice and sturdy and smells like a new car. The outside of the box has an engraving that says Neutliniv. I don't know what that means, but if you turn it around, we can start digging into the contents of the case. Inside, you'll find two cables, the USB dongle, the mic itself, a bag of magnets and adhesives, a card that says "Read this," which I definitely did, and a more detailed manual. I get really nervous about the possibility of losing a USB dongle, but thankfully this carrying case provides the perfect case for carrying it. The mic can be attached to just about any surface using the sticky magnet solution. You get two magnets and two extra sticky pads, so at any given point you can quickly attach the mic to two different places. The mic itself is extremely lightweight, coming in at 25 grams. For reference, this is the same weight as a lightly used travel-size toothpaste. I double-checked. The battery on the mic lasts for about 12 hours. It charges via micro USB cable, and if you don't have 13 of these cables laying around like I do, they conveniently provide one in the carrying case. Not only that, they also have a 3-foot USB cable extender. I would never say no to a bonus item like that, but I wasn't sure what purpose it served. At first, I thought they bought a bunch of these in bulk and were trying to get rid of them somehow, but then I realized that you can charge the mic while you're using it, so the extender is a great way to make sure it can reach wherever you're at. Me personally, I do a lot of VR yoga, so this is a very welcome addition. Keeping the mic on the right side of your face makes it much easier to plug in the charging cable while in use. The only other feature promoting a right side attachment is the logo itself, but it really depends on whether you want it set to M for mini or W for wombo. I like to ignore the manual at first to see how user-friendly things are, and on my first use, I plugged in the dongle, pressed the button one time, and then pressed the button on the mic, and it connected in about 7 seconds. If it had connected in 6 seconds, that would have been nice, but I'll take what I can get. Without touching anything on my computer, it recognized the mic and let me select it in 2 different audio programs. To mute the mic, just press the main button and you'll see a bright red light. Press again to unmute. My biggest hurdle was turning it off. You have to hold the main button for 2 seconds, and if you hold it too long, it will go into pairing mode. Very counterintuitive if you ask me. The only other button is a switch that changes the directional input of the mic, which we'll get to in a bit. In my first recording, I noticed the sound level was quite low, which was not too surprising, but it did make me a little nervous that there was going to be a tremendous amount of noise once I boosted the gain. This was not the case, and in fact, the noise floor was more than acceptable. Now, I know you've been dying to hear what this mic sounds like, so guess what? This is what it sounds like. Keep in mind, the only thing that has been adjusted in this particular recording is a little bit of volume gain, and by a little bit, I mean a lot of it, because it is quite quiet right out of the gate. But other than that, there has been no other post-processing effects. This is pretty much what it's going to sound like when you talk into the mic. That is, if you have my particular set of vocal cords. Otherwise, it will probably sound a little different at the very least. And to give you an example of what the mic sounds like with a little post-processing effects already worked in, this is what it sounds like with different compressions, parametric equalizers, noise reduction, not that it really needed it, and a few other filters. So this is what I would do to this mic if I was trying to use it in a video, which conveniently is what I'm doing right now. With any wireless mic, you need to be confident in two things: a reliable connection and a predictable range. USB dongles like these, by the way, is that not the funniest word ever invented? Anywho, dongles like these are historically super reliable since they have lower latency and lower risk of interference. On a standard PS4, the dongle needs to go right up against the plastic, and sometimes you can be fooled into thinking it's plugged in when it's really not. Or at least, I can be fooled. But this is another situation where the cable extender comes in handy. When it comes to the range, I needed to do some science. Hello everyone, this is Dirt coming at you from my office. It's a cool room, it's got 4 walls and a ceiling. And I'm going to do a little range test. So I am now approximately 6 feet away from my computer, and I'm going to walk further. I am now in the hallway, and now I completely different. I see, because this is a different room than the room I started in. I am now more or less 25 feet away. As I'm sure you heard, after walking into a different room, going more than 25 feet away and putting 2 walls in between the mic and the PC, the connection was not too happy. Now it's time to test a few more things. Get ready everyone, because it's time for the shake test, not to be confused with the milkshake test. This is where I shake the microphone around while it is still connected via the magnetic dock. So if I'm using this in VR and I'm moving my head all over every which way, I want to know if the mic creates any type of sound where you can actually hear it jiggle around. And obviously with magnets, it's not perfectly adhered. It's not fully locked in the way it could be if it was just permanently glued or connected to something else. So I've been shaking my head around for quite a while, and I'm very interested in seeing if you're going to be able to hear it. Okay, I know you heard that. Alright, right now I've got some music playing in the background. It's some beautiful bossa nova, and I have this on the omnidirectional mode, so I'm guessing you can hear some of the music that I can hear pretty vividly. And we're going to switch over to unidirectional mode, which is also the noise canceling mode. So we're just going to see how well this mode cancels out the background noise as compared to omnidirectional. Hearing the mic on its own only gets you so far, and I really wanted to hear how it compared to my other mics. Starting us off, we have the Corsair HS80 headset, and this headset has both wireless and wired capabilities. Currently, you are listening to the wired mode, where it is plugged directly into the computer, and in this mode, it sounds pretty fantastic. However, most of the time when I want to utilize it, it's for its wireless capabilities, and that sounds a little different. This is what it sounds like when the Corsair HS80 is in wireless mode. There is a noticeable degradation in quality, which is to be expected since the sound waves are traveling all over the place without the guidance of a cable telling it where to go. But even so, it does not sound nearly as bad as some of the other microphones I have used. Now you are listening to the PlayStation Gold USB wireless headset, and just looking at the frequency display, oh boy, I can tell it's gonna sound awful. I will be very shocked if you can even understand the words that I'm saying. Even though it's not fair to compare a wireless microphone to a wired microphone, I'm still gonna do it. And dusting off the cobwebs, we have an ancient Razer Kraken USB wired headset. If I remember correctly, this doesn't sound horrible, but there is a lot of noise. Now what we have here is a Rode Wireless Go 2 system. It requires the emitter and receiver, and it's a little more cumbersome to set up. It's more for videographers, on the street interviews, but it's definitely one of the more popular wireless options, so I thought I'd throw it in there just so you can hear the difference. And let us not forget the built-in mic in the Quest 2. I would be lying if I said I never used this in a video, and in a pinch, it's really not the worst sounding microphone out there, to be honest. And a gentle reminder, this is what the ModMic Wireless sounds like, just in case you forgot. And now we have a fairly popular USB wired microphone, a great example of excellent marketing for an okay product, the Blue Yeti. I don't have a lot of great things to say about the Blue Yeti. It's not as if it's awful, it's fine. It just doesn't really do anything for me, so I'm just gonna move on. And now we have the AKG C3000 large diaphragm condenser mic. This is the mic I use for recording my podcast. By the way, go listen to the Dirty Mind podcast if you want to lose a few brain cells. Don't worry, I only take the ones that no one needs. And now the Sennheiser MKH416 shotgun mic. I'm starting to realize I have a lot of microphones. When compared to just about any live wireless microphone, the ModMic easily holds its own. It sounds just as good as some wired microphones and has the added benefit of being able to put it anywhere you want. The noise cancellation didn't really make a difference in my tests, the battery could last longer, and the entry cost is a big consideration, but if you need a high-quality microphone with no strings attached, I can't really think of a better option. There's a link in the place where links go if you want to check it out for yourself, or you can take a listen in my next VR video. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the end, and I think you deserve a treat. Here, it's a basket of Sweet Gherkin's pickles. You're welcome.